I'm done, like, with anything that's controversial. I'm just so over it. Do you know why I'm over controversies? It's just because it's not even controversial. It's just like I don't even at this point in my life, because of the way the world is, I don't even want to participate in anything that just feels frictiony. I know right now we live in an age where everybody loves rage bait, like Rage Against the Machine, Rage Against the bait, like. But I'm over it, and I've said this many times, but I really, really am over it this time. I feel like I'm in the era. I will talk, like, I will do like live streams, but commenting on anything that seems mildly controversial or where people are looking to get frictiony, it doesn't bring me any joy. And I don't feel like people are stronger when they rage bait. And I don't care if that's the way that some people grow their audience or just any kind of raginess. Like, I'm just gonna definitely, like, the kind of videos I'm making now, it's just my vision. Like, things that I think are beautiful and neat. Like, just sharing hair care or like early morning clips when I'm walking. Like, yesterday I created this clip and it was just so beautiful. Captured so beautifully. I was like, I did create that. And I realized with short form content, it can be so artistic. And some people really hated on short form content, and I think I let their opinions of something that they didn't like impact me for a long time. But here's the thing, if you love something and you enjoy doing it, just do it. And sometimes, like, it's better just to do something and not tell other people you're doing it. Because I feel like this is my take. I feel like anything can be controversial. But if you want to do something, like, don't even talk to anybody about it. Just do it. Because I feel like you're always going to get somebody who has a comment about how this is not a good topic or that's not a good thing and how whatever they're doing is better. Good. Let them do the thing that's better or whatever it is. Because your happiness is actually more important, and trying the thing and doing the thing that not everybody's doing is far more important and far more beautiful than the people who, I don't know, they just want to do what all the trendy people are doing, or they want to post ragey stuff. Like, I've seen some really weird videos where people are like pretending to be pregnant, okay? Pretending to be pregnant and like needing something to rescue them in some weird situation, and it's all staged. It's like a completely staged video. And then, I don't know if it's the same group of people, but I feel like it is. There's another video that they would do where they would be making like weird concoctions. They make it seem like, oh, this was actually food, and maybe some people believe it's actually food, but it's rage. It's baity. And then it does make you think about like all the people that do actual real cooking channels where they're just sharing beautiful content and they're just doing something that's beautiful or just interesting or educational, and they're never going to get those views. So just because somebody does something to be ragey or controversial, or they discuss the news in a controversial way, or they insist on using outdated political terms. Like, I know some people, like, being politically correct, just, oh my gosh, it just incapacitates them. And I'm not trying to get controversial here, but it just incapacitates them. And I remember back when I was on the Hub Pages site and I first ran across people that, you know, if they were asked to use a politically correct term, it throws them off their base, and that's just their whole identity. Like, their whole identity is politics. And I know some people are going to say, but liberal people do that too, and they do it more. Well, conservatives do it as well. And then in the U.S., there's people congratulating each other. this is the silliest thing. Like, there are liberal people and conservative people. They refuse to, like, they'll make you feel guilty. Like, if you go and get coffee at Starbucks, like, one time. Well, I hate to tell you this. If you don't drive and you walk and you're working, yeah, it'd be great to make coffee at home, but guess what? Sometimes we're not home all the time, especially if you walk for transportation and you work like 40 hours a week and you're walking a lot. Sometimes you go and get coffee, and yeah, maybe you should make it at home, but you can't carry like tons of food back and forth with you when you walk on foot like 3 miles. Not always. And even if somebody does go to Starbucks, these people are like congratulating themselves. They're like, I make more tasty coffee at home. I'm like, that's fine. But I've never understood like why people really hate on people like, because, okay, I've gone to Starbucks a few times. I know the local baristas. A lot of them are college kids, and they're really nice people. And they're very cool. And actually, like, they're very welcoming. Like, Starbucks is a place where, in California, there's a lot of transient people that are homeless. And Starbucks doesn't, like, harass them if they need a place to sit and use Wi-Fi. And they can get like a cup of water. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't go to Starbucks because, oh, some people are striking. And that's fine. You don't have to. Nobody's making you go there. It's not like you must go there. But just like the people that they've never been to a coffee shop and then they're like, go to the independent coffee shop. Well, I've been to those places and their hours usually are not flexible, or like they'll make something and it's just like the coffee's really bitter. So I've been to several independent coffee shops and they're more expensive. People are gonna be like, oh, because the coffee, like that's real coffee, and we're real coffee connoisseurs. But I personally, if you're gonna pay that much money for coffee and it's more than Starbucks, like I think it should taste good. And when I'm at home, I don't make bitter coffee. Like coffee has a little bit of a naturally bitter taste, but when I'm talking about bitter, I mean somehow when they filter their coffee, like coffee granules are in the cup of coffee. And I think if you're going to so-called mom and pop coffee shop, there's one that's really good. There's one that's very, very good. But many of the other ones, but they also specialize in sandwiches and other things, and they up their game. But I'm just not impressed. Like I know a lot of the coffee, like so-called coffee snobs, are going to tell you, oh, you know what? If somebody goes to Starbucks, why is it for you? And the funny thing is, and I know this is I'm not going to do controversial stuff, but actually, I looked at Facebook last night, and this is why I deleted the comment, because I thought, like this guy was talking about how he doesn't go to Starbucks, and then this lady's like, I don't go to Starbucks, and oh, I just make coffee at home. And I was thinking, well, you're not thinking about, Starbucks is actually not a horrible place to work. I know people are like, what do you mean? Like, I know a lot of people are like, boycott Starbucks last year because of the Palestine thing. I didn't boycott Starbucks because of that, because our local Starbucks, I know those kids, and I know the people working there, and they're not part of that. They're just our local baristas, and they actually make coffee better than, like I said, the local coffee shops. And the prices are better, and it's more customizable, and they have like plant-based options, whereas the local coffee shop doesn't always have it. Plus, they have weird hours. And there's one that's good, but they're only open from 7:30 to 2:30. So I just feel like there's a lot of variables. Yeah, if I'm at home, I do make coffee, but if I'm out, it's okay to get coffee sometimes. And I just think, and the people that are like congratulating each other for not getting coffee, they talk about buying like an RV so they can go across the country and all these different things in a car, but they spend their money on what they want. So I guess I just came to the point, I deleted the comment, because I'm like, why am I telling these people like this? Like, this is their opinion. But at the end of the day, I don't know why, like it's popular to either hate on Walmart or Starbucks, and yeah, mom and pop shops are great, but sometimes those things are not open. Look, I went to the Mediterranean market last night, and I bought stuff. So I do go to like independent shops, but if you get coffee out sometimes, it's okay. And it doesn't have to be a independent coffee shop, because like I said, they're not always better. And maybe too, if you don't live in California, you don't know that Starbucks is one of the safe spaces that homeless people can go without being harassed. Because I'm going to tell you this, and this is especially true in my community. I know we have a lot of homeless people or transient people, but a lot of those independent coffee shops, they're not going to let those people sit there, and they're not going to want to give them cups of water, just because the vibe there usually is, oh, like, you need to go. And it used to kind of be like that everywhere, actually, but Starbucks just, it's one of the safer spaces, like, for people, and it's warm. And right now it's cold. I know people are going to be like, oh, it's not cold in California. Well, I'm getting ready to leave right now, and it's 45 degrees outside. So if you're transient and you wake up at 4 in the morning because you sleep in the bushes, and Starbucks lets you go in and use the bathroom and get a cup of water, and you might even have some extra money, maybe get a cup of coffee, that is a safe space for you, okay? So before you hate on a franchise and they're like, oh, they're bad, like I said, I know the local baristas, they're very nice, they're very welcoming, and since we also help transient people in our line of work, I have respect for them, because they're doing something for the community. Like, they're actually helping. They're not those independent coffee shops. Those independent coffee shops, they're kicking people out. I don't know, but yeah. So sometimes I get coffee there, and then the thing you don't even, I think people didn't read, was the Starbucks. I know there was some controversy with, like, certain workers having certain opinions, but I'm not getting into the political stuff. I'm just like, it's coffee, friends. If you don't want to get coffee at a certain place, then don't. But I don't boycott places because of, like, a national thing or international thing. I go off of what is happening in my local community. Which place has the better customer service? Like, I look at the whole picture. I don't just say, well, this place is bad. So I don't know, at the end of the day, yeah, cooking at home is better. Making your own coffee at home is better. Looking at Facebook never is probably better for me. Like, every time I look at that thing, I'm like, there's nothing on Facebook for me anymore. Because the only thing that's really promoted on Facebook is, okay, people have pictures of their kids, they post pictures of their kids. Like, and people like that, or, I don't know, a car, or they argue with each other. I don't like Facebook. So at the end of the day, what does this all mean? Like, if you have certain things, you can like them. You don't have to always be frictiony. And I realize I'm just never going to be part of society. And I don't need, like, I was also thinking too, like, I personally don't need some person on Facebook that thinks I need to shop at local coffee shops to tell me that I'm a rare and good human being. It just seems like, to me, like, if you're saying that, what are you saying? Other people that go to, like, a coffee shop you don't like are not special because they don't make coffee at home? Like, and then you didn't think about, well, what about the people working at that coffee shop that you don't like? What if that's the only job they have? Or what about if they provide a safe space for homeless people? Like, there's just all these things, but when people are so adamant and taking a stance against, like, a store that they don't like, or just, I don't know, I kind of don't want to be part of that anymore, because you don't know the full story. Unless you live in that community, and unless, like, you know what's going on, maybe it's better just not to get involved in that. Like, that was another thing too. Like, yeah, I know Walmart was kind of wiping out little small businesses, and I know a lot of people didn't like Walmart, but I have no problem with Walmart in general. Like, but a lot of people also wanted to boycott Walmart like 10 years ago. They were like, oh no, like, we hate Walmart. And just because it was Walmart, but like, Target was doing the same thing. You think Target was any better? Because Target, they kind of do the same thing. The only difference with Target is They're a little bit more expensive, but they're doing the same thing. You don't think Target is displaced mom and pop? I think it was just that it was more popular to say, oh, Target is like, that they have better practices than Walmart. I don't know. It's just like, it's kind of like a prestige thing. Like, I guess it's always been known that Target's more upscale. And like Walmart has a reputation for being like low class and people making like flimsy websites called the people of Walmart. Well, maybe it's just because at one time there were more Walmarts in certain communities, and maybe that's where people could afford to shop. But in this economy, like Target and Walmart are equally expensive. And it's just all this, everybody's like in their own camp, and like my camp's better than yours, and it's trendy to say, I don't like a store, and I'm not going to shop there. Okay, don't shop at the store. Like, it's, I have no idea what you're saying. If you want to say, I would have to translate it later. If it is something that's not like wholesome, or just, I don't know, I'll probably delete. But who knows? When I'm in live, you need to go use your translator. Go on Google Translate. Everybody is beholden to do that, because I do it. I do it when I have time. I want hard cookie efforts. Because if you're watching this live, like why are you writing so many things to me if you aren't responding quickly so I can read it? I think I'm just going to delete it up. Yeah, because I don't know what you're saying. I'm sorry, I don't know. And you keep writing paragraphs, so it might not be something that is good. This is my guess. Yeah, you just kept saying the same thing over and over again. It was spam. So at the end of the day, I don't know. Just do what makes you happy. You can be on social media. I think that's another thing too I wanted to talk about. Then we have people that are like, we don't go on social media because we're cool and we just can discuss things with each other in real life. And I'm like, whatever happened to balance? You know what? I have been using social media before to follow current events in the US and abroad. And then some people are like, I don't look at the news since the election. I'm like, oh my goodness. So that's the only thing you cared about was an election? You're never going to look at the news again because the election's over? I don't know. Anyway, I like to learn about what's going on in the world. But at the end of the day, this whole thought process is, my final thoughts on the whole thing is, I'm not going to focus on what people are doing anymore. I'm over it. Because every time that you are engaged in what other people are doing or paying too much attention to like people saying you should do this and not that, whether it be political or just like some sort of social movement, usually it's not good for you. Like, you should do what makes you happy. If you want to get coffee and you're not at home, it's okay to get coffee. If you want to buy a dress that brings you happiness, it's okay to get that dress. You should do all the things that make you happy. Because life is short, and the people that are telling everybody to do this and that, they're not going to be there. They're not paying your rent. They're not paying your bills. They're not your best friend. And these people, this is where the disconnect comes. I'm just like, I'm going to learn to be. Like, there are things I like, and I'm going to share what I like. And I'm here to share that. And for people that it resonates with, I'm just ready to do that. So in the past, like when I would share things and somebody would like say, "Oh, this is not a good idea," or they would just always have something like critical to say about it, I think it's better just to stop. Like the minute in the future, like I share something that I find is exciting or inspirational, I want to do, and if somebody's like, "Oh, I don't like that idea," then you basically told me you're not interested in what I'm saying. Like you have no value in what I'm saying, and you only want to share your view. Like you're, and that's another thing too. Like the people that say, "Oh, like when it comes to politics," or they're just like, you can have your preferences. Like I do have my preferences. Like I love to wear dresses, and I'm not really into sports. But like if I were to go like tell people who like sports that they must like only ice skating, they would be very upset with me. They would get all frantic-y. But then on the other end of the spectrum, if you're not into sports and you don't dress up for a sports event, like leave those people in peace. They might have their own interests, and it's okay. Like I finally have just given myself permission. Well, I did when I was younger, but I don't know, maybe there was a time up until recently that I kind of wanted to get, like, I felt like, oh, like, I want to listen to other people and hear their viewpoint. But when it was always people just being so assertive in their viewpoint and how what they like is the best. And another thing I was thinking too, if you love something so much and you think it's so great, then you should do it. But with the expectation, maybe not everybody loves that thing. Whether it be politics, social issues, store preferences, or whatever it is. Like, just assume that the people who like those things, they will organically find you. Like, they will organically find you. Like, the most tempered, the most realistic, the most, like, I think just civilized response for me, that just, I think, is the height of civility at this point. And just what I see other people do is, if you love something, do it, share it. But if you don't like it, move on. Like whatever it is, like if you see something that doesn't appeal to you and you're like, oh, I don't like that politics, oh, I don't agree with that, just move on. You don't need to like comment up a storm to those people, because at the end of the day, the person that likes one thing, they're going to continue liking that thing, and you are going to continue disliking that thing. And it's not like anybody changed their viewpoint, right? Yeah, nobody changed their viewpoint at the end of the day on any of these things. So all the friction, it didn't really suit anybody. Like nobody won. Like friction doesn't result in anybody winning. Like there's no prize for friction, in my opinion. Like the prize is nil. It doesn't exist. It's not there. It's just a waste of your energy, really. I'm doing good. How are you? All right. Have a good day.